Okay, let's play this thing. Emma's been dying about it. I don't like.
Well,
honestly, like if I see anything that says Bill Maher, it's to me, with all due respect, I was walking down the street today, and somebody had so much patchouli on that like a half an hour later I was still sneezing. Mm-hmm. That's sort of the way it is with Bill Maher. And I just know, I just cross the street if I...
well, I'm sorry to give you an allergic reaction, but I had to watch this over the weekend, and by had to, I mean I watched it. And so now you guys have to as well. But I just find this to be immensely embarrassing. Bill Maher likes to... fancies himself a truth teller, tough guy who's gonna tell the wokes and the liberals these days what they don't want to hear about what they need to do to actually make gains in society. But it's so funny how the pretend tough guy just immediately cowers when he sits across from someone who's one of the richest people on the planet, and who has a lot of power himself. He becomes a little bitch. And that's what this interview embodied. So let's take a listen to these two just brilliant minds speaking about wokeness.
So I think a lot of people thought when you bought Twitter that this is kind of an outlier. Like, what doesn't fit with these other things you're doing? I never thought that. Because I think you're dealing with big civilization.
Pause, wait, let me guess what he says. I never thought that because... it's becoming clear that you lied about a lot of stuff in terms of Tesla. Your whole shingle, never mind the whole battery and the shingles, the solar panels, shingles thing was all sort of like a fabrication. Your rocket just exploded far quicker than one could have imagined, and it also completely disregarded the health and safety of everybody who were for the fallout of it. And now that I see that you have made Twitter like 90% less profitable than it was, and also people are just like leaving in droves, I see the vision, the through line.
You know what's funny, Sam, is that the week before on his program, Bill Maher was praising the rocket launch. Do you think it's a coincidence that Elon's on the show the week later?
I don't know. Let's hear. I'm sure Bill's about to sort of raise all the failures that Elon Musk has had.
I never thought that. Because I think you're dealing with big civilizational issues and problems, and I was right on your page. I think Twitter is one of them. I mean, you have talked about this woke mind virus.
Yes.
In really apocalyptic terms. Yeah. You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide. First of all, what is the woke mind virus? And if we don't deal with this, nothing else can get done. Tell me why you think that.
Yeah, so I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. So, those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous. Is that it's often anti-meritocratic.
Pause it for a second. Now, he's not going to, I don't know if he's going to, I haven't seen this.
No definition.
He's going to definition of woke mind virus, but we really pay attention to the anti-meritocratic.
Exactly.
Because understand that when Elon says we live in a meritocracy, what Elon is also saying is, think about how much better I am than you. Mm-hmm. Because if we live in a meritocracy and I have tens of billions of dollars, think of how much better I am than you.
Yeah, it's exactly it. That was exactly the reaction I had. And it also feeds into some of his other just crazy ideologies, like his consistent insistence on natalism and pronatalism. When he speaks about how we are the birth rates are declining in countries like Japan and the United States, they never mention other countries. They only, billionaires and freaks like him, circle in on sectors of the globe that they want more consumers in, and so that's why they want birth rates to go up, so they can have more consumers of their kinds of products, because that's the way that these freaks think. And that's why he has a bunch of kids that he doesn't see or care about, because he wants his superior DNA to be spread throughout the globe. Like, I'm just saying, this guy's supposed to be this genius, but really he has a psychotic view of the world, and it feeds into, exactly what they're discussing here.
The aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous is that it's often anti-meritocratic. You can't question things. Even the questioning is bad. So,
for example,
another way to,
I don't have one.
Almost synonymous would be cancel culture. And obviously people have tried to cancel you many times.
Many times.
Yeah, I mean,
every week.
Yeah.
From left and right. I've had it from both sides.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's interesting. People, you and I are both like in that little group of people. Maybe it's a bigger group now.
Yeah.
Who are called conservative, who haven't really changed. I don't think of you as a conservative.
I'm definitely, yeah. Like I at least think of myself as a moderate. So.
All right, pause it again. All right, I'm sorry, because first of all, not changing does mean you're a conservative, because people who have views of the world that evolve and change with the times means that you're somebody who is more progressive or liberal, and you respond to changing context. Deciding I'm still going to be the old guy that has my views that I had 20 years ago, by definition makes you a conservative.
Also, I'll just add, those views 20 years ago were like, we needed to invade Vietnam to show the world that we were still the strongest.
Yeah, and then he was an atheist, but really it was more just about how Muslims are barbaric. So those views were conservative at the time too. And this is a hallmark of the IDW right to say, my conservative views are not really actually political. In fact, they're moderate, or they might not be involved in politics whatsoever, because they're consistently trying to launder conservative thought through apolitical means. And it's the same thing we saw with the Barry Weiss crowd before, and now these guys are just a little bit richer and have a little bit of a bigger platform saying the same stuff we saw 6-7 years ago.
And what does it mean that Bill Maher is they're trying to cancel me? It means that people are criticizing him from all sides, and yet he's had a show for 25 years.
Yeah.
At minimum.
He's got a CNN deal.
There's one time when he's been canceled, and that was in the wake of 9/11 and with pressure from the Bush administration. And the idea of like fans or non-fans or people like us saying you're an idiot and your statements are unfounded or whatever. I mean, what is the world that they're supposed to live in? Like where we're supposed to preface everything. I disagree with your ideology, but I will protect until my last gasp your right to get a big check from Viacom.
Yeah, I mean, like this thing, like Elon Musk is a union-busting oligarch scofflaw in his sort of public life. In his private life, he's estranged from a trans child. Like, you are conservative, bro.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, or it doesn't speak highly of moderates if you guys want to say you're moderate.
All right. Well, the thing I really just want to get to here is the example that Elon Musk gives. So Bill Maher asks him, what's an example of the woke mind virus? And he must have a ton, since he's very influential.
But I think like the parents are just generally not aware of what their kids are being taught, or what they're not being taught.
But they're letting the kids think that they're equal.
I mean, yeah. Let me give you an example that
Bill Maher
parents
does not
told me,
have a
which
kid.
His daughters go to college go to high school in the Bay Area, and he was asking them like, well, so who are the first few presidents of the United States? They could name Washington, and I said, well, what do you know about him? Well, he was a slave owner. What else?
Right. Exactly.
Nothing.
Right.
Like, okay, that's, maybe you should know more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. That is the woke mind virus. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, slavery is obviously a horrific institution, but we should still know more about George Washington than that.
And by the way, one that was practiced all over the world forever, since the beginning of time.
All right, we're good.
Every race.
We're good. But this is the thing that I just.
Oh my God.
So some high schooler said that George Washington was a slave owner, which is true. It's fact. Facts over your feelings.
She was boomering her dad. It's not that's what Elon's so pissed
Oh, God
about.
forbid. Yes, a teenager tries to troll their parents for having conservative beliefs. Pretty sure the kid knows that George Washington was the first president of the United States, Elon. Pretty sure.
Well, if the kid doesn't, what has this got to do with the woke mind virus?
The God damn it.
Civics?
No, civilizational
threat.
Civilizational threat that they're describing. That he's dealing with big issues, Elon Musk over at Twitter. Huge civilizational, earth-shattering issues, like a high schooler in the Bay Area who told their parents that Washington was a slave owner. It's seismic.
I love, though, also how Bill Maher is like rushing in to sort of justify our slavery because it existed other places. First of all, we know there's a distinction between chattel slavery and this and that, but also still, like, what is the argument here that he's making? To say that slavery was not foundational to the rise of American economic stature and essentially just broadly stature in the world is just simply not factual. And the most important thing about George Washington was not that he was a slave owner, because there were other slave owners. But it is important to keep in mind that these people who are deified in our society were also slave owners.
I mean,
let's also be clear too. Like George Washington, and I think was it Jefferson, their desire to expand the United States was both genocidal and just about their own like real estate accumulation.
Yeah, George Washington, one thing I know about him is had a keen eye for the Ohio River Valley.
Yes, I mean, that may be more pertinent to who George Washington was.
Well, it's important to why, like, okay, one of the important lessons from George Washington is that instead of continuing as a dictator, he decided to retire into private life and allow, like, if future executives come in. One of the main reasons he did that is because he wanted to pursue real estate ventures.
And so, you know, one wonders, like, what is it that we should know about George Washington? I mean, that's really the next question. It's one thing to say, in this one exchange I had with a teenager who I ran into, as far as I know, Bill Maher does not have kids.
No, I think he's pretty openly against having kids.
But and maybe he runs into a lot of teenagers in his life that are just normal teenagers, not living in Hollywood or whatnot. But I'm curious as to what they think we should know about George Washington. Yeah. That's really the issue here. Not
he couldn't tell a lie.
Not the failures of a couple of high school students to articulate the essence of George Washington. But what is it that we should know about George Washington? Would they be okay knowing that George Washington was really about pursuing, at least in part, his own private real estate moguldom, essentially, and that this, of course, involved genocide and U.S. expansion? I mean, is that what they want us to know, or would that also be woke-mindy?
No, they want us to know only that his dad, who you should always listen to, told him not to cut down his property, aka a cherry tree, and George Washington couldn't tell a lie about that when called to account in the authorities.
It just is, to me, just seeing this guy who thinks he really is outside of the norm suck up to someone in this fashion on his program when you had an opportunity, and they're talking about free speech, civilizational issues. I mean,
that's what Maher
Twitter is. Yeah, he's the free speech guy. Twitter is censoring in India right now on behalf of Narendra Modi and his fascist government. They're doing it right now. and no questions about that. Like, these guys are
and there's
such
other countries,
charlatans.
without a doubt.
I mean, it's just something about the pseudo-intellectualism of these idiots just gets under my skin, and I don't know. I mean, it really, really pisses me off.
This is about Elon. It's about George Washington. This is about what people know about Elon, which is that Emerald Mine. Hello, good job. Your dad invested that so you could come hang out in America, and also no statements against apartheid as it happened, as I said, and also made a huge lump sum from PayPal, which is not, which is he is then leveraged into capitalizing onto major societal needs that he's not actually delivering on, like need for electric vehicles.
Yeah.
But look, we've been talking about the woke mind virus in the context of Elon Musk and Bill Maher. Let's see another example of the woke mind virus that is permeating, and this is important because this deals with children and education and books and theater, which are really crucial to the development of children. And we see this woke-mindedness really infusing things. Start playing this video and then we'll cut to it. This is from Eyewitness Channel, ABC 13 Eyewitness News in Texas. An amazing example of the woke-mindedness. Really, folks, this is going to be a little bit disturbing. We got the volume up there? Okay, there you go. This is going to be a little bit disturbing for you.
Heard of the story, James and the Giant Peach, which is why Spring Branch ISD planned a field trip to a local performance of it.
But now the district is canceling the trip because of what it calls the age appropriateness of the performance. ABC 13's Liliana Pearson is joining us live tonight from the newsroom to explain what that means and why the decision is leaving so many parents divided.
Pause it. This is a perfect example of woke-mindedness. Woke, what is it called?
The woke mind virus.
The woke mind virus and the snowflakiness of these, Oberlin graduates and all their sort of like authoritarianism. James and the Giant Peach. It's a great book. I read it to my kid, but apparently now we can't watch the play of it because listen to this.
What is it? A call me by your name Peach situation?
Listen to this.
School didn't necessarily spell out exactly why they canceled the field trips, but from what we can tell, parents are saying online, it seems some parents are upset that the theater is using a single actor to play multiple roles, regardless of if the actor's gender matches the gender of the characters they're playing.
Main Street Theater's performance of James and the Giant Peach is marketed for those first grade and up. Based off the children's book with the same name, it's a story about a boy who goes to live with his less than loving relatives.
James and the Giant Peach. It's just full of wonder and curiosity.
Spring Branch ISD was supposed to go on a field trip to see the performance, but parents were told this week that the field trip was canceled, and they weren't really told why.
Initially, I was not. So just the general email that went out to parents was, we're not going to be able to participate in this. We're going to do something else.
Sherry Thomas is a Spring Branch parent. She tells us this may have started during the public comment portion of a recent school board meeting. She says a parent shared her concerns about an actor playing multiple roles that were both male and female, saying it's drag. The theater marketing director says the theater has a long history of casting this way.
And the amazing thing is the kids they believe the story. They're not interested in any agendas or anything anybody else thinks might be going on.
Oh, God.
Thomas says that this should not be the school.
Sure. Clearly, the agenda by this theater company to hire one actor to do the thing so that they can cut back on expenses. And it's like this newfangled, like just intense desire to have men play women in theater.
What a disgrace to the theater.
Yes.
What's next? Peter Pan will be played by an adult woman in a boy's wig?
Oh my God. What would Shakespeare say about this? Horrible. Terrifying.
Again, this is Doubtfire.
Amazing.
More like James and the Giant drag show.
Oh. More like
this woke mind
Jamie.
virus is really infiltrating things. I mean, we literally like book bannings going on and this and that, and to watch these like old aging, white men who have no contact with kids, as far as I can tell. Right? I mean, Elon hates his kid, and Bill Maher, I think, is not even has not had a kid.
Even the peach in and of itself, it's kind of suggestive shape-wise, if you know what I'm saying.
They didn't even get to that.
I'm just giving them ideas.